Did you know? The remade Metroid Prime opening theme in Super Smash Bros. Brawl references unused material for Metroid Prime. The Brawl track has a short opening monologue.
In the reaches of space, below the surface of planet Zebes, Samus Aran faced the space pirates.
This monologue is actually a shortened version of a monologue spoken by Jennifer Hale, the voice of Samus in all 3 Metroid Prime games.
10 years ago, below the surface of planet Zebes, the mercenaries known as space pirates were defeated by interstellar bounty hunter Samus Aran.
The recording is still on the Metroid Prime game disc, but likely went unused to preserve Samus's image as a mostly silent protagonist. The Super Smash Bros. Series has a lot of musical trivia. The main menu theme of Super Smash Bros. Melee sounds strikingly similar to the opening segment of the Super Nintendo RPG Terranigma. Terranigma never came out in North America, but was published by Nintendo in Europe. The first part of the Terranigma theme has a very similar melody to the one used in the Melee opening, and the composer for Melee may have taken inspiration from it. The rest area music in All-Star mode is a remake of the Great Cave Offensive save area music from Kirby Superstar. All-Star mode is also likely based on Kirby Superstar's Arena mode, as both have the player fighting a number of random enemies, finishing off with a consistent final opponent. Both modes show who the player is going to fight next, and both have rest areas where the player can replenish their health. In the DS remake of Kirby Superstar Ultra, the same music is used in the rest area between arena matches, the same as in Melee. While we're on the subject of Kirby, the music for the Fountain of Dreams stage is an orchestral remix of the Gourmet Race theme. This remix was used in Kirby, Nightmare in Dreamland during the battle against King Dedede at the Fountain of Dreams, and has since been recognized as the Fountain's theme. Because Nightmare in Dreamland released less than a year after Melee, it's safe to assume both games were in development at the same time, and so the Fountain of Dreams track was likely added to Melee as a teaser for the upcoming Kirby game. This wasn't the only time Nintendo showcased content in Super Smash Bros. To promote another franchise. Roy was included in Melee as a playable character before he even appeared in a Fire Emblem game. This was to promote the upcoming 6th Fire Emblem game in Japan. Roy and Marth's presence in Melee increased global interest in Fire Emblem, prompting the series to be released internationally from the 7th installment onwards. Content from the Super Smash Bros. Series has been used in other games too. Mario's vocals for his down special move and backward throw were used in Mario vs. Donkey Kong on the Game Boy Advance. This is the only time vocals from a character in a Super Smash Bros. Game have been reused in a game outside the series. What's also interesting is that DK's voice clips in Melee were originally meant to be recycled from Donkey Kong 64. The man who voiced DK's role in Donkey Kong 64, Grant Kirkhope, went on record to say Nintendo requested if they could use the samples in Melee, but much like the original Super Smash Bros., the developers decided to give DK realistic gorilla grunts to better fit the game. If language is set to Japanese in Super Smash Bros. Melee, Mewtwo will speak in full sentences for some of its victory poses. When the game is set to English, Mewtwo only laughs during its victory poses and taunt. But in Japanese, Mewtwo says, "Watashi wa makeru wake ni wa ikanai. Watashi wa naze koko ni iru no ka?" and "Oroka na." Similarly, changing the settings to Japanese in Melee will make Falco speak during his taunts. When the game is set to English, Falco will simply scoff. Falco will either say, "Ore no emono ni te o dasu na," or "Nigasu ka yo?" When Falco wins a match in Japanese, he also says, "Tekki gekitsui." Marth and Roy speak in Japanese even when the language is set to English, so what they say goes over the heads of most English-speaking players. Although Roy doesn't speak during his taunts, he has 3 lines for when he's victorious. Roy says, "Kurushii tatakai datta," or "Shin no tatakai wa korekara da," and "Mamoru beki mono no tame ni makerarenai." Marth is more vocal than Roy and talks during his taunts and down special move. When performing a taunt, Marth says, "Minna, mite ite kure." While doing this down special counter move, Marth will say, "Soku da," or "Saseru mono ka." Marth also has 3 possible victory statements, which are, "Konkai wa boku no kachi da ne. Kyou mo ikinobiru koto ga dekita." And "Boku wa makeru wake ni wa ikanai nda." In Melee's debug menu, Marth has an additional phrase. He says, "Let's dance," It's likely this was discarded to keep Marth's speech consistently Japanese. At the time both Melee and Brawl were released, not a single Fire Emblem game featuring Marth had been localized in North America. This is probably why Nintendo chose not to translate his spoken dialogue to English. One detail that was changed while localizing the original Super Smash Bros. Was the beam sword sound. In the Japanese version, attacking with the beam sword sounds like you're swinging around a lightsaber from the Star Wars franchise. The sound effect was changed for the West, probably to avoid any copyright issues. We've previously mentioned how some trophies have less than obvious references or oddities hidden in their reflections, but there are a few others that were left out. The reflection of the metal parts of the Ayumi Takibana trophy is a heavily embossed cat's face, and the reflection on the Fire Kirby Trophy's crown is an embossed and inverted baby face. The trophies for Dr. Stewart, Jodie Summer, and the Landmaster tank all use this image in their reflections. This is actually a screenshot of Asohi Castle from the cancelled Earthbound 64. Bizarrely, there's also an image of a gun on the texture for Plum's trophy. The gun appears to be an AR platform rifle. The texture for Roy's sword has some hidden text that reads, HAL Laboratory Inc. Laboratory is notably misspelled. Another unseen detail is that although he appears to be a flat sprite, Mr. Game & Watch is actually a full animated 3D model. That's all for today, but don't forget to subscribe to Digino Gaming and follow Digino Gaming on Facebook and Twitter. Make sure you also check out diginogaming.com, and if you like this video, check out our other videos. And if you're in the mood for even more Super Smash Bros. Action, check out my animated music video about the Wii Fit trainer being in the latest Super Smash Bros. Game.
Can't I analyze what Sakurai might do? I've tried to decide, but my brain doesn't like to disagree with my heart. Cause all I wanna see is my favorite girl in the fight suit. Missing those times when we tried to get fit though. You're like a mannequin from behind a window. And now that you're weighing in, my feelings are something that I have to disclose. Beautiful Wii Fit trainer.